Yo, we live. Hey man, welcome back to the Golden Goose DFS show. I am your host, Chandler Blakely, aka Goose, here today bringing you another edition of my starting five for Draftkings and Fanduel. But before we get into that, man, y'all know we got the lineup breakdown, man. So I got that pulled up for y'all, and while we getting into it, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, turn your notification bells on, man, so you can be here with us every time a video drops, alright? So last night, man, small 4 game slate, man. I told y'all I like to go light on the small slates, man. 1 or 2 lineups, and that's what I did last night, man. So I got the best lineup pulled up for you with my updated starting five. Only gave us 233 here, man. It was a moderate scoring night. I think the winning lineup was like 320, 330, right around that area. Cash line ended up being like 280, 279. So it was a little ways off from that, but let's get into the breakdown of why I did what I did, and also we just gonna do a quick little breakdown. Then we're gonna have a brief strategy session on how I approach the my build process and things of that nature. So, if you caught the updated starting five, man, you know I went with it was originally Russell Westbrook, PG-13, Will Barton, Chandler Hutchison, and Dwight Howard. I put PG-13 in there hoping he would play. I had a good feeling that he was going to play, but he ended up didn't. I told y'all I'll probably switch to Devin Booker if he didn't play. Well, that was because I didn't think we was going to get that news till about 9:30, 30 minutes before lock. But we actually got it super early. We got it before the 9 o'clock game lock, so it allowed me to make a little different pivot, which is what I did here by going to Tobias Harris. But let's get it. With Russell Westbrook, man, you see him at the top, whopping 81% ownership, man. Just crucial, but you had to have him last night. He put up another big performance, man. 69, right at 70 DK points. Another triple double for Westbrook, man. He's just a walking triple double, man. He steps onto the court with 5 rebounds and 5 assists, man. So anytime you get him without Bradley Beal, man, you just gonna want to lock him in, man, because he can really hurt you if you don't have him. We wanted to get him in there. Got him locked in. We knew he was going to be high on. Wouldn't expect him to be that high once again, but he was up there. PG-13, like I said, he didn't play, so I switched to Tobias Harris in this one. Wanted to get a piece of this Philly-Denver game, as I knew it would go overlooked. So last night, man, I knew the chalk game. Everybody was going to that Charlotte-Washington Wizards game. I knew that was going to be heavy chalk, man, especially with ownership coming in on the Hornets side. And me just, like I said, playing larger field GPPs yesterday, I felt like those Hornet guys could go either way, man. That they was all in a good spot, but you never know who's gonna do it with those Hornet guys. It could be Rozier, it could be Graham, it could be Hayward, it could PJ Washington could have a big one. You just never know. So I wanted to go get the pieces I was sure of and just get a couple of pieces of that matchup, and then get different everywhere else, hoping that the public was wrong on a lot of those Charlotte guys. It didn't work out in my favor, as Rozier, Graham, Hayward, all of them got there. None of them missed. So that would hurt us yesterday, man. We didn't quite get there, but that was our approach to it yesterday. So, but I went to Tobias Harris. He came in at 14% ownership, 25 DK points, man. Not enough at all, especially for 8,500. They got handled pretty easily by the Nuggets. The Nuggets have been in control of that game from the jump, man. Philly made a little run late, but it didn't do any good, man. The Nuggets just had control of that game from pretty much start to finish. So none of those Philly guys performed well yesterday. Coming in Will Barton, man, I wanted to go to the other side of that Philly Denver guy. I thought Will Barton was in a great spot. We knew he was gonna get tons of minutes. Got him at 4% ownership. That is great for a 4 game slate, man. That is awesome. But they didn't need much from him, man. As he didn't get it going yesterday. Jamal Murray shouldered the load as he put up a big offense performance yesterday. So just 21 points from Will Barton. It's okay at 5,800, but not enough for yesterday's slate. Chandler Hudson, another guy that I knew was going to be a chalk value piece. I was okay with it because he's the bare minimum, man. I have no problem getting the guys that are the bare minimum that I know going to play, and I know they're going to shoot the ball. I knew Hudson was going to shoot the rock, man. He shot at his first game playing with them in the rotation, so you don't go from being an aggressive shooter the very first time you play with a squad to not taking shots your next game. So I knew he would be in the line. I knew he would get some playing time. I knew he would shoot. It's just a question of whether he made them or not. He didn't do much at all, man. 13 DK points, but at 46% ownership, man, it didn't kill us too bad. A lot of people went there. Like I said, a lot of people was on this Wizards Charlotte Hornets game like I knew it would be. But we'll take that. And then Dwight Howard, just a guy I wanted to take a chance on. 6.2% ownership, man. Yeah, I figured he was in a good spot. One, I knew he was going to be low on. I figured he would get the playing time because they were going to need his size against Jokic. And I wasn't too worried about him getting kicked out of the game again because after he got kicked out 2 games in a row. Doc mentioned him being a clown and just being crazy for doing it. So I figured Doc had a talk with him, and I knew he would try to. I didn't know, but I figured he would come out a little more calm and try to play a regular basketball and not do nothing too crazy tonight. So he ended up getting the start. I thought we was in prime position to have a big night, but he only played 20 minutes, man. And gave us 20 DK points. So right at a fantasy point a minute, I thought he was to be in line for at least 25 minutes. But I think the game being out of hand so soon, so early in the game that they really just scaled his minutes back and tried to go a smaller lineup to play catch up. They wanted to run and push the pace as they try to get back in it, right? Then filling out the rest of the lineup, man. Got Shake Milton at the shooting guard, another low on play that I thought was a good pivot from some of that chalk over there at the Hornets chalk and things of that nature. I thought he could be in a good spot. He only gave us 19 DK points. Yeah, what are you gonna do? It was okay. And then Terrence, man, I just locked him in once Paul George was out. I figured he would be in for the same role he took the night before. And at 36% ownership, a few people was over there. He gave us 28 DK points. That's very solid at 4,700. And then round out the lineup, DeAndre Ayton at 6,400. Just me, like I said, trying to be a little different again. A guy that was in a good spot against Atlanta. He came in at 19% ownership. That's solid. He gave us 36, man. He was pushing right almost at 6x return on the value. It was okay for yesterday, but not enough to get us to the top of the leaderboard. There you have it, man. My best lineup yesterday with the updated starting 5, 233. But let's get it cracking for tomorrow. But the quick strategy session, all right? So the reason why I always say, you always hear me talk about my strategy with this, I think it's beneficial for you, especially if you're playing large field GPPs, is that approach it from a strategy standpoint, man, to try to give you an edge or give you leverage on the field. So, because if you think about DFS like this, man, I don't know how familiar y'all are with sports betting, but if you're familiar with sports betting, think about trying to hit an 18 parlay, man. It's very difficult to do. A lot of times when you make like an 18 parlay or something like that, what happens is you end up hitting 3 of them, or you're hitting 4 of them, or you may even hit 5 of them and miss 2. It's very hard to do. That's basically what you're trying to do when you're building DFS lineup. It's like you're trying to make a parlay, and you're trying to get 8 perfect guys at each spot, man. You're trying to get the 8 of the highest scoring guys at each position. That is very, very difficult to do, man. It's hard to do to get 8 perfect picks at every position. That's very, very hard to do. So, not saying you can't do it, but it's very far and few in between. So, to negate some of that, especially if you're not doing 150 lineups, if you're only doing 3 or 4 lineups in these GPPs, or it applies to a single entry too, you want to form a strategy. If that will give you an edge on the field, like I said, give you leverage, give you multiple ways to win. If everybody's paying up at guard, if you think there's viable pay down options, you know what I mean, go that route. Because I take a perfect example, Russell Westbrook last night. If you told me you faded Russell Westbrook last night, I'd be like, man, because that's hard, that's difficult. Everybody know Westbrook was in a great spot, and he could easily kill you. But if you got a high tolerance level for loss, that's a good way to go. If you faded Westbrook last night, I would hopefully I'm gonna ask you, did you go 100% Jokic? Because when you fading somebody of that caliber, you want somebody that could do what they do, or give a better performance. So if you told me you faded Westbrook last night, I'd be like, man, that's tough, but I'd be like, I could see it, because at 81% ownership, if you think about the tournaments and stuff like that in Draftkings, even the single entry, it pays most times the top 20% of the field. So you telling me you a fade a guy. So fading a guy at 81%, if he miss it, pretty much, if you get your play right, it's gonna pretty much put you in the money. You looking at being in the top 20% there, man. That's why I say you want to approach it with a strategy, especially if you're not doing 150 lineups. It just gives you more path to victory. By one, your plays being right, and that's gonna get you to the top regardless. Another path to victory is if you just make better plays than the field. You know what I mean? So, like I said, Westbrook, take Westbrook for example. He 81% ownership. If you faded Westbrook yesterday and went Jokic, let's say Jokic beat him by 10, 15 points, whatever, you got an edge on 80% of the field. Now, let's say Jokic don't go crazy. He just give you 50 or 60, but Westbrook take the night off. It's the second leg of a back-to-back. They could have rested him, or he could have just not played hard. They could have limited his minutes. It's a bunch of different paths, like I said. But that's why you just want to form a strategy, man. It gives you a greater chance to win, especially if you're not. Even the 150 guys, they do the same thing, but they just got 150 lineups, so they can work multiple strategies. You know, they can stack this game, stack that game. They have more strategies they can work. But if you just putting 3 or 4 lineups in, or you just in a single entry, you need a strategy, because just trying to pick the 8 perfect plays at each spot, man, is gonna be very difficult. So that's why I do my videos like this, instructions, so y'all can see my strategy and see what I try to do that night before. Sometimes it works out and it wins, sometimes it doesn't, but it just gives you more path to victory. Not saying that's the only way you can win DFS. It's just what works for me, and I've won a few single entries doing it over the past couple years. So that's what I just try to put that out for y'all. Maybe that can help y'all. Y'all can formulate your own strategy, however you want to do it. But I just think it's beneficial for you to form a strategy when you're building your lineups. Like if we look at one of your lineups together, like say if I'm talking to you about DFS and you show me your lineup, I should be able to ask you, okay, so why did you build it like this? You should be able to tell me your strategy behind it. Like I said, that's just my thoughts on it, man. I could be wrong, but you know. Sorry, just a quick little strategy session. Let's get on to the start 5 for tomorrow, man. I'm gonna put this, I got some strategy session videos coming for y'all that'll be a little longer where we go into full breakdown. But starting 5 for the day, man. At the top, man, Kevin Porter Jr. going against the Brooklyn Nets, man. I like him in this matchup. Could potentially be without John Wall today. Could potentially be without Christian Wood. If both of those guys are out, man, it's just a stone cold lock for me, man. I would be probably 100% Kevin Porter Jr., as he's going to see all the usage he can handle if both of those guys are out. If one of them is out, I'm still gonna be locking in Kevin Porter Jr. If both of them play, I'm still gonna play Kevin Porter Jr. Probably just not as much though, but I like him at this $6,000 price tag and this great matchup against the Nets. He does a little bit of everything, man. He just played 36 minutes last time out, just had a horrible shooting night, man. He's going to try to score. He's going to facilitate a little bit. I like Kevin Porter Jr., man. He's a well-rounded basketball player, and if we get him over here with no John Wall, no Christian Wood, I'll probably be 100% Kevin Porter Jr. tomorrow. I like getting to him in this matchup, especially at this price tag, all right? Coming in as shooting guard, man, I want to go Joe Ingles. We know we don't have Donovan Mitchell tonight. Going against the Memphis Grizzlies, I'm expecting them to do what they do. Normally when Conley out, Joe Ingles is always the one who rotates into the starting lineup, as they like Clarkson coming off the bench for that offensive punch from the bench. So I expect Joe Ingles to get the start here as shooting guard, man. And I like him at this $5,600 price tag. Joe Ingles is another guy. He's very solid, man. He's not over the top with peripherals, but he going to add you 4 or 5 rebounds, 4 or 5 assists, man. And if his shot going, you know he's going to add the scoring in there. So he could be in a prime spot to give you a big performance at this $5,600 price tag going against the Grizzlies today. All right? Coming in at small forward, man. The price is dropping on him a little bit, and I want to look at him right here. Jimmy Butler, man, at $8,800 in this matchup against the Pacers, man. Jimmy Butler has just been solid since he returned back from missing games earlier as the Heat try to make their playoff push, man. And I like getting to him in this matchup against the Pacers here, especially at $8,800. He's been 9-2, 9-3, low 9s for the past couple of weeks, man. And now that his price is dipping, I want to go right back to Jimmy Butler. I think he's probably going to go overlooked tomorrow, too, especially on this big slate we have, all right? Coming in at power forward, the guy I want to look at, Jason Tatum, man. I like him in this matchup going against the Dallas Mavericks, especially if Jaylen Brown is out, man. You know that's just going to boost all the uses for Tatum, a few more shots from him. Even if Brown plays, man, you know, Tatum still in play. I might not like him as much as those guys kind of like cipher from each other. So, but if Jaylen Brown is out, I'm definitely going Tatum here. And then coming in as center, man, a value piece I want to look at is Nerlens Noel. Now, before I get into this, man, I don't know why Andre Drummond is not on the DraftKings player pool. Maybe my DraftKings is just tripping or something this morning, but I didn't search for him, and I do not see him. I have no idea why he's not here, as you can see. Maybe they might add him before the slate. Who knows? But if they do, go Andre Drummond. If not, and it stays like this and you can't get to him, I like going to Nerlens Noel here at the 4,900 price tag. He's been very solid the last two games, averaging about 32 DK points over the last two. And in this matchup, a great matchup against Minnesota, he'll have a few more possessions, a few more chances at rebounds and blocks and things of that nature. I like Nerlens Noel here in this matchup, man. Hopefully he can slide us in a baby double-double or something, you know, 10 and 11, few blocks in there that can really push him towards this ceiling type performance. But at 4,900, locked in at 30 plus minutes, I like him in this matchup against the Timberwolves today. So there you have it, man. My starting five for DraftKings today: Kevin Porter Jr., Joe Ingles, Jimmy Butler, Jason Tatum, and Nerlens Noel. All right, get you some exposure to these guys. Get them in your player pool. You know I'm gonna have plenty of them. All right. Now let's take a look at FanDuel. At the top, I want to look at Mike Conley, man. Just told you, no Donovan Mitchell. More usage to go around for the starters. That means a few more shot attempts, assist opportunities for Mike Conley. And I would definitely want to get to him, especially at this $6K price tag over here in Memphis. I think he's a little too cheap over here for the role he's going to have tomorrow and the potential usage and upside he's going to possess in this matchup. I like getting to Mike Conley against the Grizzlies. Coming in as shooting guard, going right back to my boy, man, DeMar DeRozan. Yep, right back to him. Same matchup against the Sacramento Kings. So every opportunity he had the other day, he's going to have today. Hopefully he just shoots a little better. They lost the other day, and that's likely due to him not shooting good and not giving that offensive spark that the Spurs need. I look for him to correct that today and get it back going in this matchup against the Kings. I like going DeMar DeRozan for this 7,700 on FanDuel. Coming in at the small forward, staying with Kevin Porter Jr., man. A little cheaper over here on FanDuel. Just a great matchup for him and everything that he does offensively for the Houston Rockets, especially everything he's going to have to do if John Wall is out. Get you some Kevin Porter tomorrow. Coming in at power forward, man. Staying with him, Jason Tatum. Listen, I told you, just broke down the matchup. You know his usage, shot attempts, everything increased with no Jaylen Brown. He still should be a solid play if Jaylen Brown does play, but we may make a move. Just depends on what type of value and everything, how everything shakes out with the rest of the news today. But for right now, we like getting Jason Tatum at the power forward spot. And coming in as center on FanDuel, Andre Drummond, man. 5,200. Listen, just play him, man. I'm going to play him. Y'all can do what y'all want to do, but he's in the starting lineup. I don't know if his minutes going to be limited or whatever, but if he's in the starting lineup, I'm anticipating at least 20 to 25. And 20 to 25 minutes of Drummond at 5,200, you know he can absolutely destroy this price tag right here, man. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be anxious to play as he's been sitting out. He's well rested, fresh legs, ready to go, man. I love Andre Drummond tomorrow on FanDuel. As a lot of people probably will, especially with his price tag. He's gonna be a little chalky, but I'm okay with it. It's good chalk tomorrow, man. Get you some Andre Drummond, all right? There you have it, man. My starting five for FanDuel: Mike Conley, DeMar DeRozan, Kevin Porter, Jason Tatum, and Andre Drummond, man. Get you plenty of exposure to these guys. Get them in your player pool. You know I'm going to have plenty of it, all right? That's going to do it for us here today, man. Sorry the video's a little longer, but I just want to do that quick little strategy session at the beginning. Hey, y'all know the motto, man. Y'all green up. I'll see y'all tomorrow, all right? Chances make champions. Remember that. Let's go.